Hello students, hope you are feeling excited. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic. Yes, you guessed it correctly. It is about disaster management. At the end of the topic, I expect my dear students to have an ability to know the disaster, its effects and preparedness. So here we go. Disaster management. Here we come across two terms, disaster and management. So let us take them one by one. We will try to understand the two terms. First, it is disaster. As you know, disaster is a certain and unfortunate event that causes a lot of distraction and devastation. Here, on your screen, disaster is a natural, man-made or technological event. Means here, it can be natural, it can be man-made or it can be technological. And we will learn about it later. So, here, World Health Organization says any certain occurrence of an event that causes damage, ecological disruption, loss of human life, deterioration of health and health services. Now, it's a recall time. Brush up your memories. Can you tell me which disasters have you experienced in your region or in your area? Yes, you are right. There were floods in 2014 in Kashmir Valley due to the heavy rainfall in which around 100 people died and there was a huge loss of property. And anything else? Yes. At Uri, there was an earthquake. And recently, a forest fire in the outskirts of village Khiram. And can you tell me one more thing? What were the effects of that disaster on local and surrounding conditions? Yes. Everything was badly hit. There was air pollution, there was destruction and devastation all around. And lastly, what was your reaction, response and readiness? Dear students, in the beginning I have told you that we confronted two terms. The first was the disaster, we have discussed it. And the second one was management. Now it's the time to discuss this management part. What actually management means? Go to your screens, you see the process of dealing with or controlling things or people. This is the crux of management, I will tell you. In management, there are 5 processes. The 5 processes, they are planning, it is organizing, it is staffing, it is leading and controlling. So, here we can say that disaster management is the process of managing the disaster. So, disaster management can be defined as organization and management of resources and responsibilities for dealing with all humanitarian aspects of emergencies, in particular preparedness, response and recovery in order to lessen the impact of disaster. So in disaster management, we manage the disaster just to minimize the damage. Now, we will try to understand what are the characteristics of disaster. You know, disaster is certain. It is having a great potential, very high potential. its intensity is very high and it happens in a short time. Now we are going to talk about the classification of disaster. Broadly, disaster can be classified into two broad categories. One, natural, and the second is man-made. It can be natural or it can be with the intervention of humans. The natural disaster is that event caused by natural hazards and leads to loss of life and damage to physical infrastructure and environment. For example, as you have cited earlier, that floods of 2014 in the valley of Kashmir. The second one, man-made disaster, is an event caused by human intent, negligence or error that leads to loss of life and damage to physical infrastructure and environment. Example, Bhopal gas tragedy. Do you know what happened in Bhopal? It was in the month of September 1984. In Bhopal, a toxic methyl isocyanate was released from Union Carbide pesticide factory. It killed around 3,500 people and scores of other people. It is estimated around 25,000 were affected. And that was a great tragedy. It is universally called as Bhopal gas tragedy. Dear students, we have learnt about the classification of disasters. Hope you got it perfectly. And let us try to stretch it further. Now we are going to know about its types. And as you know, in classification we have learnt about natural disasters and man-made disasters. And here we will take first the natural disasters. There are different types of natural disasters. They can be meteorological, they can be geological in nature, they can be biological, or they can be environmental. The first one, meteorological. So here it is very important to know about the term meteorology. Actually, it is defined as a science that deals with the atmosphere and with weather. If you will see here, under this type comes floods, cyclone, hurricane, typhoon, snowstorm, thunderstorm, droughts, hot cold waves, etc. These are all natural disasters, but they will come in the ambit of meteorological disasters. And the next one is geological. You know, the geology means all about the earth. It is earthquake, volcanic eruptions, landslides, tsunami, debris, mud flows, etc. The third type, environmental or biological. Global warming, climate change, ozone depletion, solar flare, epidemic, plagues, they come under this category, this type of disaster, that is environmental or biological. Can you tell me, the COVID-19 we are talking about, it has engulfed the whole world in its cruel claws. Can you tell me what type of disaster is it? Yes, absolutely right. It is biological in nature. And now we will be talking about the man-made disasters. Man-made disasters can be technological in nature, like transport accidents, structure failures, explosions, fires, etc. They can be industrial in nature, chemical spills. We have already talked about it, the Bhopal gas tragedy. It can be radiation, it can be poisonous, gas leaks, etc. And the third one, warfare, war, terrorism, internal conflicts, civil unrest, etc. And here we came across the different types of the disasters. And now it is time to know why disaster management, why there is a need of disaster management. The most important part of today's lecture, why disaster management. Disaster management is very important to survive in such occurrence of the event. Disaster management team can help you to take measure to minimize the impact of any sudden or unfortunate event that can cause damage. Go to your screen. The goal of the disaster management is to lessen the impact of disasters. That's very important on vulnerable populations, and to design a coordinated plan that reduces the waste of resources, time and efforts. Being prepared can reduce fear. All of us know. It can reduce fear, anxiety and losses that accompany disasters. Communities, families and individuals should know what to do in the event of disaster. So, the purpose of disaster management is to avert a disaster, to undertake the rescue operations, to provide relief measures, to undertake the rehabilitation programs, to reduce trauma and tension, to control death rate, to protect the environment, to minimize losses, the most important. Dear students, in today's lecture we have learned disaster, its classification, its types, and why disaster management is important. There is a lot more in store. Wait and watch. Hope you all are done with it. And don't forget to check your understanding in the next slide. So, let us take a leave for today. Stay safe, stay blessed. Check your understanding. And here on the screen you will find few questions. And these questions are there just for your self-assessment, so that you will be able to know have you understood the lesson perfectly. Please go through it and assess yourself.